Hi everybody, it's Brian here. I'm doing a GamePro magazine review for my collection, and this is a very, very thick one, actually. This one. This is actually GamePro number 52 from November 1993. As you can see, it has Sonic and Spinball and Sonic Chaos, Mortal Kombat Strategy Guide, Super Empire Strikes Back, Disney's Aladdin, Street Fighter 2 Special Championship, Super Street Fighter 2 in the arcades, and here's my sticker of my old address. So here, let's open it up. Turtles Tournament Fighter. This came out on the Super Nintendo. Pac-Man ad. As normal with GamePro magazine, you have to flip through all the ads. There's a really weird picture of Mega Man. He looks kind of weird. Super Empire Strikes Back, Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition. Socks the Cat. Actually, Bill Clinton's, the president at the time, his cat had a game. Weird. John Madden. Boom! Tough actin' to actin'. Mortal Kombat Strategy, and Role Players Realm. This was the first time I saw Role Players Realm. It was like a setup of just role-playing games. Nintendo and Silicon Graphics, The Reality of Project Reality. That was when it was the Ultra 64. You had the Atari Jaguar here and the 3DO. I want to get a Jaguar someday, even though it was, quote, a failed system. I have games for it, I just don't have a system. Joe Montana when he was a chief. The Mail. We have these fine people writing in. Here, this guy writes, "What's in a name? Do the names Nintendo, Sega, and Atari have any meaning?" And they respond, "Nintendo used to make playing cards, so there's a gambling connection to the name, which loosely translates to the place where we leave it up to the gods, and the best we can. Sega comes from service and games, the slogan of the original jukebox importing company. Atari was chosen by founder Nolan Bushnell, who was a big fan of the Japanese game Go. In Go, players call out Atari, which means I have you now, similar to the way chess players call out checkmate." So there you go. If you never knew what they were named for, there you go. Yoshi's Cookie. More readers' mail. Here's an ad for a game. I'm not quite sure what game. Havoc is sailing your way soon. Havoc is sailing your way soon. The Seven Seas will never be the same. I guess it's called Havoc? I'm not sure. Top Gear 2? I heard the first Top Gear, I heard the first Top Gear is pretty good. I haven't got it. I see it for like $2.50 everywhere. The Cutting Edge. This was when the Nintendo 64 was coming out. This is the Ultra 64. Well, I don't even know if they called it that. It was even too early for that. But you can see Silicon Graphics is working with them with their graphics chip. Looks like a cheap Photoshop of Mario in front of a picture. Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, the new challenger in the arcades. I remember that intro with Ryu throwing his Hadouken. Excuse me again. Oh, yawning. Rocket Knight Adventures ad. GamePro video tips and secrets. I'd like to have that, actually. Interesting. There used to be a GamePro TV show, if you remember. Look it up on YouTube. There's a few episodes. Very cheesy, very 90s kind of stuff. They use words like radical and awesome, totally. Sonic Spinball. Spider-Man X-Men. Sonic Chaos for the Game Gear, which I've never played. $3DO. My friend had this, and it was $700 when it came out. Give you a perspective of what that would cost today. That's a lot. Well, considering the dollar was worth more back then, you're looking at like $1 back then was maybe equal to like $2 today. So you're looking at around $1,000, $1,200 for equivalent today, I'm guessing. That was insane. I don't know how he got it, but he had it, and it blew me away with the graphics. I've never seen anything like that as a kid. Now it looks primitive, but there are a few games for it. Check it out if you get one for cheap. Get them for like $50. Try to get this one, the M1 version, though. It's the more reliable of them. Terminator ad. The Aladdin for the Genesis was a very good game. Different than the Super Nintendo one, but they're both very good. The Aladdin, they were very good. Sonic CD, Sonic Spinball, and Sonic Chaos. This is Sonic Mania, and they had Sonic Lifesavers, actually. That's interesting. Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition for the Genesis. They loved it. You really needed a 6-button pad to play this. Otherwise, I think you had to hit start to switch between your punches and kicks. Selfie. I just picked that up for the Sega CD. Maybe last month. RoboCop 3 Genesis. Dr. Shock Huffy. Bike ads. Remember, I always wanted a nice bike as a kid. I had a bike, and it was good enough, I should say. It was a 10-speed, but it was nice. But I see all these cool bikes, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. RoboCop versus Terminator. Now, I see this game, and I should pick it up sometimes. There was a game for the Nintendo called Base Wars, and if this is anything like that, I might like this. It's called Super Baseball 2020 for the Super Nintendo. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Awesome Possum. Addams Family. And here we have Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, an SNES RPG. I had a friend who had this too. You actually start the game at the end of the second game. The second game is a prequel to the first game. So you should actually play Lufia 2 and then play Lufia. But it's the exact same scene in the beginning of the first game and the end of the second game, pretty much. And here's that Super Baseball 2020, and they really liked it. I might pick this up. I see it in stores sometimes, so I might pick it up for the Super Nintendo. It came out as well. Dungeon Explorer 2 for the Turbo Duo. And I wish I would have picked up a Turbo Duo back then, because they go for like $300 now, and I want to pick one up, and they're insanely expensive. Pugsy. Eternal Champions, I remember that. A Genesis-only fighting game. This guy always reminded me of Ernest P. Worrell. What game was this for? European Racers. Is that... Oh, it's for the Sega CD IBM computers. Sonic Go CD. I just picked this up, and it's a really fun Sonic game. The music I love. The music was different in the American version and then in the Japanese version. The American version was kind of poppy, but I really liked it. A totally awesome CD soundtrack. I thought it was awesome. Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter 2 Turbo. They're comparing the two, and it's hard to compare. It's like apples and oranges. I always like Street Fighter 2. Wrestling back in the 90s. Lex Luger, Shawn Michaels, one of the best wrestlers ever. Bam Bam Bigelow, Bret the Hitman Hart, Razor Ramon, later Scott Hall, and Hulk Hogan, and Macho Man, and Mr. Perfect. Tanaka up there too. Yeah, I liked wrestling back then. Used to watch it with my dad. I think a lot of kids did. Super Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. And I want to get all the Super Star Wars games, but every time I see them, I forget which one I have. I have one of them. I think it might be this one, or the first one. I forget. Hulk for the Nintendo. Here's Lethal Enforcers for the Sega CD. Came with the Justifier. If you ever watch Nathan Barnett's Keith Apocary's videos, his character Keith Apicary always carries these Justifiers around. I highly recommend his videos. They're hilarious. He's one of the funniest guys. Daffy Duck Marvin Missions. Rock and Roll Racing, like RC Pro-Am, but with awesome like graphics and music. ActRaiser 2, I was kind of disappointed in this one. I loved the first one because it was like building a little city and then you fought in platforming and the music was awesome. This one I felt was a step back. It was just, they removed the city building aspect, however simple it was, and they just had side-scrolling stages. So I was kind of disappointed in that. It's still a fun game though. Jurassic Park, because it was out in theaters around this time. Huge movie as a kid. I remember this movie. Huge. Every kid loved it. I mean, who didn't like dinosaurs? And to see them on the screen, like on the huge screen like that, amazing. Super Mario All-Stars. Look at that. All 5s. And they also later released one with Super Mario World. Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. I want to get that one. It goes for about $30. But it's worth it if you're a Mario fan. Splatterhouse 3, I believe. Super Mario All-Stars. Sega Activator. Oh yeah, this is that thing you stand on and you can kick and punch, and it reads your movements. I don't know how well it worked, but kind of interesting. It's like a pad you stand on. I never even heard of that before, until yeah, this brought it back up. And a friend actually told me about that. I was like, what's the Activator? And then now I see it in the magazine. So, wow. Era the Acrobat. Ooh, this is a big issue. Pink Goes Hollywood, Pink Panther. Clock, fun game, very fun game. Here's this little Turbo Twins. These guys made like a little portable like light and arcade unit for the Game Boy, and all kinds of these weird accessories and stuff. Super Off-Road. Mortal Kombat. Dracula, when Bram Stoker's Dracula was out in theaters, they had games for it. Captain America and Avengers. I have this, actually. They really didn't like it. I thought it was okay. Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. Preview. Gauntlet 4. Micro Machines by Codemasters. I actually picked this up the other day, too. The best racing game ever written. That's a bold statement, my friend. Magic Boy. Clay Fighter. And I was really excited for Clay Fighter. And now I was disappointed when I got it, because the controls were so floaty. GamePro strategies for Mortal Kombat. Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung always reminds me of the guy from Big Trouble in Little China. Oh God, what's his name? The guy, you know, who wants to sacrifice the girl with green eyes. I forget his name. If somebody knows, let me know in the comments. Mega Man 6. Came out really late in the NES's life cycle. Fun game, though. Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt. Zombies ate my neighbors. The Atari Jaguar. Atari Jaguar 64-bit video games on the prowl. Atari tried to make a comeback. It was an okay system for what it was. It was just too much. They always promoted it as 64-bit, but it wasn't that great looking. But I still want one. Here's a few good games for it. Selfie. Splatterhouse 3. John Madden. Sports pages. RoboCop versus Terminator. Man versus Machine Man. Look at that arcade stick there. More sports games. Look at all the hi-fi equipment here you could get back then. One 32-inch television stand, surround sound system, VCR, and laser discs. CD player. I remember, like, I want to enter and win this. That's amazing. Mega Man 4 for the Game Boy. Hard to find these Mega Man games for the Game Boy. If you see them, pick them up. If you like Mega Man, of course. And this is actually a fun game for the Super Nintendo. Ren and Stimpy Vidiots. I saw this the other day. Power plug. You add it to your controller and it gives you like turbo and features, other features. Tiger puts the bite on handheld games. I used to carry these with me at recess and play them. I had Double Dragon, Ninja Gaiden. I think that was it. Simple, static background picture, and then early LCDs where you move like one frame of animation at a time. Nowadays, kids would be like, ew, but back then it was amazing. Lost Vikings. Have you seen the Lost Vikings? Fun game. One of Blizzard's earlier games. Might have been their first, I'm not sure. Ad for Looney Tunes games. I loved Roadrunner's Death Valley Rally, even though it controlled terribly. GamePro Labs reports. Here's the Sega Activator. Came out for $80. That's kind of pricey. This new full-body controller gives the term interactive video games new meaning. Once you step into this octagon, you'll be swinging with the best of them. There it is in action. He's doing the crane kick from Karate Kid, apparently. Look at this wireless controller with the huge satellite dish receiver. It's funny. Sears Funtronics, can you handle it? Dennis the Menace. Joe and Mac. I didn't know it came out for the Genesis. Flashback. Space Ace. Dr. Franken. Actually just picked that up last week, I think. Shadowrun, 2 different games for the. I think the Genesis was different than the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was really cool. That's the only one I ever played, though. Like a futuristic RPG, almost like Blade Runner-ish. Hot Swat. Turbo Touch. Look at Guile. He's like, yeah, get my hair cut. Play with my Turbo Touch 360. Well, they had one for the regular Nintendo. Go figure. More Turbo Touch controller with people throwing controllers in your face. All the ads in the 90s were in your face, yeah! Road Adventure for the Sega CD, and Time Gal. Full motion video adventure games for the Sega CD. Super Mario Kart, classic game. Action 52. You get all 52 games in one cartridge for playing a NES 8-bit or 16-bit Sega Genesis Mega Drive. Hey, you can order it. I wonder if I can still order this today. Because that game's actually pretty expensive nowadays. Oh, it was $79 plus shipping and handling back then. Whoa! Lester the Unlikely. Green Dog. Look at this controller. Quick Shot. Wiz and Liz. Battletoads Double Dragon. The ultimate team up. Role Player's Realm. Here it is. I love this section. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. This is one of the quirky Zelda games. I have yet to finish it. I only played it for a little bit, and I should finish it because I heard it's one of the better Zeldas. Journey Home, Quest for the Crown. Landstalker. Dungeon Explorer 2 for the Turbo CD. Final Fantasy 3. I used to look at these pictures and be like, oh my god, amazing. Little did I know that it was not coming over here. This is Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Famicom. We didn't get this version until on the DS later, in like the mid-2000s. We got Final Fantasy 6 as Final Fantasy 3. Luffy and the Fortress of Doom. I remember that frog. Paladin's Quest. Obitus. Mario is Missing. Pro News. Nintendo Silicon Graphics to develop 64-bit system. I wonder what system that could be. 64? Couldn't be the Nintendo 64, could it? Yes, it could. There's the 3DO. Sega Pack Sewer Shark with Sega CD. Jaguar unveiled at press conference. Look at that. Like an arcade cabinet you stand up in with virtual reality. Sega VR. Handy Gear. It's like a snap-on light for the Game Gear with magnifier. Guys playing in the rain. That's not too much of a bright idea there. And don't use your control pad as a basketball. Just don't. Okay, guys, and that was GamePro number 52 for November 1993. And wow, that's almost 30 minutes. That's a long video. Thanks for sticking with me, and I might actually, since I have a lot of scans of the ones I'm missing, I might actually do just a scan screen cap on the computer so you can see it a little better of the ones I have. I'm not sure yet, but I might try that once next time. So take care, guys.